Hello. Hello. Hi, everybody. Welcome to the stream. Hello. Hi, Fitz. Hi, Nobody on Earth. Hi, Nora Inu. Hi, Kuro. Hi, Ink. Hello. How we all doing? Hello. How are we today? I hope we're all doing good. Today is the critique stream. It's me. Hi, Doku. You're doing good? Good. I'm glad. I'm glad everyone's doing good. I'd be sad if you were doing bad. Very good today? Oh, good. My mom's out of town, so I'm in charge of the doggo. Very good. That is a fun job, just pet sitting. Yeah, you're right. Bone says don't sit on pets. It's good advice. I mean, yeah, if they're a horse, you can probably sit on them. The weather's chilly, so I made myself some cocoa. Oh, bless. It is cozy season. It's time for sweaters and hot tea and alchemy, witchcraft, pumpkin spice, pumpkin everything. It's that time of year. I let her sleep in my room because she usually sleeps in my mom's. Oh, baby. Baby, baby. Apple cider, yes. It's so hot here. Oh my god, I'm sorry. I hope it cools off. Hundreds are not fun. September is spider month, so not cozy here. Yeah, there are a lot of spiders around now. There's also a lot of are there yellow jackets outside of North America? Bones would know. Like wasps, hornets, because we get a lot of those this time of year. Well, yeah, I know there's wasps, but are there specifically yellow jackets, which are the annoying ones around here that just harass you for food? And I despise wasps. I know they just show up and they bully you. Wasps don't exist. Oh, okay, right. Right. Is it like fish? How everything's a fish, but they're all very different? That's wasps. They are big bullies. Angry wasps have mostly died near me. I think we do have them, but rarely. All wasps are the annoying ones. One time a yellow jacket flew directly into the side of my leg. How rude. True. Mud daubers and paper wasps are fine. Okay, yeah. Not all wasps are terrible. I still remember when we were at an Airbnb and we were waiting for our ride to go to like a convention, and next to us there was like a war going on in a tree between a bunch of hornets and wasps because they eat each other. It was horrible. They were just falling out of the tree angry. Hi, Miss Blackwood. All hornets are wasps, but not all wasps are hornets. Okay. Never been stung by a wasp. I don't want to be. It's not fun. I'm not into it. I don't want to be stung by bees either, and bees are adorable. Exactly. The bees will die if they sting me. I don't want them to die. I want them to live and pollinate and be cute. I'm going to uni for my biology bachelor. I can confidently say all wasps deserve to die. Thanks, Tiny. Thanks for clearing that up. Wasps are the big cats of the insect world. Yeah. I've been seeing lots of tiny moths recently. They're really cute. They're so cute. I love moths. Bones does not like moths. They fly weird, according to him. I was stung by a bee exactly once. Oh no. Get that That, oh god. It's a lot of stings. I've been getting butterflies and big moths. Very good. Yeah, we get lots of butterflies in our garden. I know, wasps are so mean. Moths are my favorite animal. They're really cute. I like a good moth. They're so fluffy. Moths like beer? I did not know that. I love the moths that look like lined post-it notes. I don't know what those are, but those sound so cute. I love the pink one. The pink fluffy moth. Is it the maple moth? Something like that is really cute. It's my aesthetic. Rosy maple moth. Thank you. Thank you, nobody. It is objectively, yes, it's objectively the most adorable moth. Butterflies scare me because of that SpongeBob episode. It's legit. The best organism in history, correct. Correct. Alright, I think we should dive into some of these critiques, though I'm having a lot of fun just talking about fall animals. Hey, Pigment. Okay, so. I'm a fall animal. Bones is definitely a fall animal. You do not see him any other time of the year. Yeah, so it is critique time. So we're going to be going over the work of our lovely Patreon supporters and tearing their work apart brutally so that they never make art again because it's so good and I'm so jealous. No, but we're going to be critiquing the work of our Patreon supporters. If you, in the future, would like your work critiqued, you can sign up for our Patreon. There should be a link in the description. But yeah, let's get into it. Who would like to go first? Show no mercy. Prepared to be massacred. Yes. Okay, so we have Fitz, Clad, Lesbian, who has to go at the end, so we'll look at their stuff later. Ink, Kuro, and Pigment. So I think everyone except for Clad and Lesbian is here. So who would like to go first? You don't mind when you go? Okay. Roast and toast us. Yes. Do a Gordon Ramsay impression. Exactly. It's raw. Is that good? You're lesbian? Oh my god. Nobody. You were hiding. My god. Okay, so you are here. After you lied to me about your identity. Yes. I'd like to go sooner than later. I'm on work break. Okay, let's start with you, Pigment. Hiding my power level, right? Oh my god. Okay, let's start with you, Pigment, my friend. Okay. So, let's see what your comments were. Okay. So the first two are completed comic pages. Yes, I do remember seeing these in pencil form. You're looking for general critique, specifically want to know on colors used in backgrounds. And then later, there's a cover for chapter 2. Okay. Awesome. Okay, so looking at these, yeah, so I think first off, so I really like the colors, first off. They're very cohesive. I like how you have this nice through line of like the purples and the teals. It works really well. It feels very cohesive. It feels like your characters are in the background, like they're in the scene. And yeah, it's cool seeing them all in color after seeing all the black and white pencils for so long. yeah. So I think. Oh, I also really enjoy the like this view out the window. Like the colors are really nice and cute, and it just looks really good. I like it a lot. It also works really well to like frame the characters, which is really awesome. Um, 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 um. I don't know enough swear words to impersonate a Brit. It's true. Um, okay, so I think the I love painting that sky texture. It looks so nice. It's so pretty. It looks like a night sky. Like, sorry, that sounds so basic, but it just looks really good. Yeah, and it blends really well with like the trees. And I like the framing of the patio door. So I think my only feedback is that I think you could lean into the lighting more with the backgrounds and the characters. It's hard because I don't want to make extra work for you making a comic, because comic pages take like a long time to make, and especially when you're doing full color with like full backgrounds and stuff, like it's a lot. So asking you to then go in and like add a bunch of like shadow and lighting on top of it, like I understand the stylistic choice of keeping things pretty flat. Um, I forgot where the light source. Yeah, exactly. Like just figuring out like, is there an overhead light? Is there like a lamp? That kind of thing, just to kind of even if it's just some like really basic kind of gestural shadows here and there would really help kind of define the space more. I'll have to remember to think that when I'm designing. Yeah. Because you can use it a lot for setting tone. It really helps with composition because you can use the lighting and shadow to like frame things. But yeah, but if you did want to continue with using like a flat color in the background, and I think this is also just good advice for even if you did want to go more in depth with like the lighting. I think currently your characters and your background are very close in value, so they're both very it kind of ranges from mid-tone to like very dark colors. There aren't too many light kind of pastel colors throughout this, which makes it all kind of blend together. I think this top panel works the best because you have this background that's very cool colored. So you've got like your purples and your teals and greens and stuff, and then the characters are very warm. So you've got like the warm tones of their hair and skin. This character has like obviously lots of like orange and warm colors, and Nyx has like their hair and skin and stuff. So that works very well for helping them stand out. But you could push it even more by, it depends on the mood you're going for, but using like a lighter background, for example. So like making these like a bit lighter in color, more pastel. That way the characters and even like this bit of couch in the foreground, like that becomes very, it pulls more to the foreground because it'll be darker than the stuff in the background. So like lightening this up a little bit would help, or you can go the opposite way. So the characters in the front can be lighter and then the background's darker. It totally depends on what you want to go for. Yeah. So even this like middle panel where it's the call out of her sighing, just lightening this background up even a little bit, I think would really help make her pop on top of it. And then this background with their apartment. Yeah, a lot of it is just very similar in value. So again, like I was saying up here, where you could make this lighter, like make the walls lighter. For example, lightening up the floor. Yeah, and then it just depends like what objects you really want to stand out. I would generally, in this case, because you probably want the focus to be on the characters and the couch, so keeping these like foreground objects darker and then making the rest of it like a lot lighter, a lot more pastel. Currently, because of the colors used, so my eye is very drawn to these yellows that are throughout. So like the cork board where you see like post-it notes and the pride flag, and there's like it looks like I want to say bathroom mat, but like a kitchen mat, because it's not a bathroom. A kitchen mat here, and there's some like canisters or candles or something. Yeah, canisters. So like my eye goes to there because they're the brightest and the lightest, and they really stand out against these very like gray, cool tones behind them, where the characters that you want to focus on, or the elements you want to focus on, because it's not always characters, right? They should have those contrast colors. So because their colors are very, like Nyx has a lot of like kind of peachy oranges going on, but they also have like the purple and the blue. And then the other character, who I'm totally blanking on the name for, uses like these really warm browns and oranges and stuff. Like those colors should be brought out more. You could highlight them by making the couch say like the yellow or peach or something to make it like kind of frame them in a really contrasty color, and then the background could be very teal. You may want to take some of these yellow colors and bring them to like a cooler spot, if that makes sense. So like you could take this yellow post-it note and make it a bit more green and desaturated, and that would help kind of blend it into the background. Same with like the mats and the canisters and stuff, because even if they're pulled to like a more kind of greeny bluey color, if they have some yellow still in them, people will read it as yellow against like the surrounding teal, if that makes sense. Zayla, okay. Perfect. Okay, so yeah. So I would focus on that. I think what you have is good composition-wise. I think it's just a matter of contrast. So just ensuring that like what you want to focus on has the most contrast. That would be my tip. I see what you mean. Make the colors with the characters stand out so the characters themselves stand out more. Yeah, exactly. And then if you have a scene where there's like the focus isn't necessarily the characters, it could be like, I don't know, a sword or a key or something. I don't know. You know how there's scenes where like you're focusing on maybe like a house or a tree or an object. Like same deal goes. So like if you're focusing on like a single house on a street block, like give it the contrasting colors, make it the most make the other houses more dull and gray and dark, and then make it very like bright colors, contrasting colors. Keep it light if everything else is dark, or vice versa. Just keep up the contrast where you want people to look. When you're working with black and white comics, the advice I've seen is it's just a more simplified version of the color advice, where like the darkest object in the panel is where people will look, or vice versa, like the lightest object. So if you have like a field of black and then your character is all white or like light tones, they'll stand out. Or if you have a very light panel and then you have a silhouette of a character, or a character who has very like dark tones or black ink and stuff, like they'll stand out against it. Yeah. So was there anything else for this that you had questions for? Because expressions are great. Like I said, I really like seeing the characters in color. Nyx looks super cute, by the way, in color. Composition is looking good. Yeah. and it's like really close with the colors. I think it just needs like a little bit of tweaking. Any feedback on how I've drawn Zayla's hair? I really like the way you've done her hair. It feels so voluminous, like it feels so full and good. I really like, you've done it on like the characters and kind of the main objects. I really like this like subtle gradient you have going on, and I think you've done it really effectively with Zayla's hair, where like I like how you can see you've like shown the shape of it, and I like how like you're not too, there's not too much texture within the hair, but you can still tell that it's like got those like really like nice curls in it without going crazy in depth, you know? That makes sense? Because you're using like the outlines to show the texture, and then you're using the gradients to like show the shape of the hair. I think it works really well and matches the style of the rest of the comic. Because I like how you have these nice kind of like subtle gradients on the characters and the couch. I'd love to see that the kind of soft shading used like on the ground. So like for example, like a shadow underneath the tables, or like that the couch is casting, or like where your characters are standing, like their shadows having that nice softness to it. It's good. It's good. Keep that style then? Heck yeah. Yeah, it does look bouncy. Her hair looks so nice. Okay, so let's work on the next one. And if you have any questions, let me know. Right. So I think same advice with this top panel, where I think you've got a lot of competing colors going on here. Because like I like how for this like shop you've got like you're showing a lot of variety, like the stuff on the shelves and like this little seed carousel. Like it looks very like well stocked. It looks nice. I think just the colors on the items on the shelves are brighter and stealing more attention than your characters are. So if I were you, I would again put the color attention on the characters. So Zayla and Nyx coming in, and then oh my lord, I've immediately forgotten her name. And I remember last time we did a critique. They said her name, and I couldn't remember it. Lydia, thank you. Yeah, so the focus should be on Zayla and Nyx and Lydia, and less bright color on the objects in the background. So you can do that by desaturating, trying to I know, I was like, is it on here? No. I was like, did I miss it? Nope. So yeah. Yeah, so again, desaturating, making these colors in the background blend in more by kind of like pushing those colors toward the background colors, whether it's like this kind of like reddish brown you're using, or some of the teals you're using, just so that they blend in a little bit more. I tend to, when I'm doing a scene with a background that has like clutter in it, so like it could be like a library scene, because Bones always has a library scene in all of our stories. Books are good. I do like books, but anyways, so when you have like things on a shelf or like a market stand or something, I tend to grab like 2 or 3 colors, usually 3. 3's good, that all kind of fit the like background colors. So like I might take like, in this case you could take like a desaturated brown, you could grab like maybe like a dark teal and maybe like a purple or something, and just kind of like use those 3 colors to like mix it up. So like that way you're kind of keeping it all within the background colors, but these items all still feel distinct, like how you have them now. So yeah, just playing around with that, really limiting your colors can help a lot. Yeah. And again, I think your background here is very dark, and your characters are also in very dark colors. So again, like brightening them up or lightening the background and making the foreground characters darker, whatever it is you decide to go for. Yeah, and again, playing around with light sources would also be really cool. My problem is limiting colors. I know, it can be really difficult. It also kind of like makes your life easier when you have like a very limited palette. So then you don't have to spend time like deciding on the perfect color or like playing around with them. You can just kind of grab what you need off your palette, if that makes sense. Like that's what I tend to do before coloring a scene. Is I tend to have like a color palette for each scene. So like I remember with our comic 9 Point, like we have a scene that is in like a market. So I had all these like greens and reds and purples and stuff because that was the colors of, like, it was an outdoor market, so there's lots of green. And then the stand that they were going to was all red because the character had lots of reds in his palette. So yeah, so just having something you can choose from quickly, and then you can very easily, like, you know, you could pull the red and then make it lighter or darker depending on what you need. Yeah, and I think with more practice, because there are definitely scenes where you can use tons of different colors, like, to your advantage. I'm trying to think of a good example. Because, like, you could have a scene where it's supposed to be, like, overwhelming with, like, how many different colors and varieties of things there are, but, you'd still need to kind of, like, shift them together tonally so it doesn't feel too out of place. For this scene, I did pick 3 colors, a green, yellow, and the brown to match Lydia and Jasper. I added more than that in the end and changing the saturation. Oh, okay, I see. I do think, like, your color palette is, like, cohesive. I think it just needs to be, like, brought together a little bit more. Does that make sense? Like, I honestly think it's a saturation thing too, because like the yellow from the pots and stuff and the teal is very bright against like this very dark background. Yeah. But I do think the colors overall are cohesive, because I do see like you're using the greens and the reds as like the reddish brown is like a contrast to the green, and the main focus is like Lydia, who is very green in color palette. Yeah. You've got the purple matching with Nyx, and the red and brown matching with Zayla, so yeah. Okay. So I really like this panel because I remember enjoying the kind of like flashback in your pencils, but I like how it's like desaturated, and you can tell that like Nyx is having a flashback memory thing happening upon seeing their soulmate. So yeah, I really like this panel. It gives a good sense of like the moment of like shock and then like returning kind of to their body, if that makes sense. And then looking at Lydia, so that's awesome. And yeah, and I really like the colors for this panel of Lydia, where she really stands out against the background. Like, I like how you've used like a nice kind of pastel-y green that matches like her wheelchair and her overalls, and then like her colors are very bright and dark against the background color. So yeah. And I also like how the yellow on her is pulled to like a bit of a green hue to match with the other greens. It's just really nice. That's good color work. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, so I think the second half of this page is like mwah, chef kiss. It's just this top panel needs like the contrast work, like the last page that we talked about. Did you have any other questions about it? Yeah, exactly. All good? Awesome. Let's do the last one. So this is your cover for chapter 2. So you're looking for the general critique and don't be afraid to nitpick about perspective. Okay, things like perspective. So I really like the composition of this page. It's really nice. It's very dynamic. I think you've done a really good job with using the perspective to really add depth to it. The poses are really great. You've done a really good job with the foreshortening on the characters because we're looking at them from above. So yeah, like really great work with like keeping them all in perspective and stuff. Zayla looks awesome in this. I really like the pose, the expression. It's really dynamic. Just really great work. I love her hair in this, like how it's like flowing around and her expression. I love the muscles on her arms as well. So good. Yeah, really great work compositionally with poses and perspective, like I was saying. I was iffy on her hair. No, it's really good. I really like how it adds like so much movement and like dynamicness to it. It's really good. I couldn't decide if I liked the shape or not. I really like it. I really like it. I think you did a good job. So, I think there are some things that feel a little bit flat, and I think it's due to some color choices and being like flat colored. So I'd recommend doing some shading here and there. It doesn't have to be like a ton, but I'd recommend adding like some shadows on the ground below Nyx and Zayla. Just some lighting. Like again, it doesn't have to be like fully rendered with shadow and stuff. I waited to shade for after the critique. Okay, cool. But I'd recommend keeping like shadow of Zayla on the ground. It can be more kind of like not diluted, diffused, like more soft, because she's farther away, and then Nyx's could be like a bit of a harder shadow. Yeah, keep lighting in mind. Yeah, and I think adding shadow will really help with the wings, because currently the texture is very, like it looks very laid flat. And I think adding the shadow will help like keep that, keep the depth to it. Yeah, and I think again, just be very careful of your contrast, because again, the side of the building is very dark, and then a lot of the colors on Zayla are very dark. So I'd recommend, because Zayla's your kind of point of focus, ensure that she has like the most contrast. So like whether that's like making her dark and the background light, or background dark and her more lit, I guess. Just keep that in mind. I'd also like to see the text kind of brought in a little bit more. I think the placement is pretty good. Like compositionally, you've got like Zayla is like our main focus. She's placed in like a really nice focal point. There's lots of like dynamic lines to kind of bring us through the composition. I just feel like the title for the comic, so the cycle continues, and then chapter 2, they feel very like kind of small and out of the way, and I'd like to see them kind of brought into the composition more. It honestly feels like, so I think you'd have to choose like what's more important, chapter 2 or the cycle continues, and then that can get the most like weight, so whether that's size or making like the writing thicker or something like that. But currently the composition really leads you like down here to where it says chapter 2. So I'd love to see like if chapter 2 is what you want to focus on, like bring it up farther so it's like on a focal point. Making it larger would really help. And then with the cycle continues, if you want it to be the focus, you can move it over here and bring chapter 2 kind of down in the left corner here. But if you do want to keep the cycle continues here, I think it needs some kind of like overlap, if that makes sense. It feels just kind of like thrown in. Not thrown in, but like it feels too sectioned off. I'd love to see it kind of maybe make it bigger, make it overlap here. You could add some details on the road so it just feels more like incorporated into the composition, if that makes sense. Yeah. Because I feel like the text was put where it is for legibility, which is really good. Like you don't want too much clutter around your lettering, otherwise it can be hard to read. But I think it just needs to be like brought into the picture a bit more. I couldn't decide what color to make it. It'll be the outside of Lydia's apothecary. So in this case, so if Zayla is the focal point and she's very orange in her color scheme, I'd recommend putting blues in the background. Like I like the blue you've kind of chosen for these, like the pots of flowers and stuff. So instead of using like a teal, you could make it more bluey, or maybe make the scene kind of feel like it's more at night. So like even if you decide later in the actual comic that you want the building to be like, I don't know, red or purple or something, you can change it. But if you kind of color things so that it's like at night, so it's more bluey and purpley, and then you can really make Zayla stand out by being this like bright orange and red and warm colors over top, if that makes sense. And then same with this like door here. Like in actuality it probably would be this color if it's like matching the wood tone inside the shop, but in this case it's kind of competing with Zayla because she's got the really bright rich like browns and reds and stuff, and then this door is like very similar in color and value, so making it lighter, making it more blue or purple or whatever you decide on, I think that would really help. With your focus should be like Zayla is like the warm colors, maybe Nyx brings in some warm colors too, and the rest is all like cool colors so that they really pop against the background. Yeah. Okay, so hopefully that makes sense. Do you have any questions? Can I go next? Yeah, sure. That covers everything. Awesome. Well, thanks, Pigment. Good luck at work. I know you're on a break, so I hope the rest of your work goes really well. Okay, Fitz. Fitz, my friend. What were your comments? Okay, so first mission is for a base I made for Halloween. I'm mostly wondering about sorry, oh my god, my brain will not read words. Mostly wondering about the composition and general presentation. The next is a commission I did for someone in another server using the base. It's their character, so no design critique, more general stuff. Okay, so then these are kind of linked. So like here's an example of a commission, and then here's like the base that you used. Okay. So I won't do any critiques on this character because it's not your character and it was commission and stuff. Okay. Okay. What does YCH stand for? Your character here? Okay. Thank you, Bones. Okay. Oh, you even said it. I'm sorry, Fitz. I can't read. It's like I said. Okay. Cool. Okay. So the pose is really cute. First off, and I love a Halloween theme. Okay, so are you looking for kind of like general, like are you looking for like critique on the pose or like the composition? Because compositionally I think it works. It's like a nice balanced image where like it's very symmetrical and then you put your character in, and I think it's like a good base. It's a cute pose. Compositionally it works. Is there something in particular you're looking for? Okay, composition and general presentation. Yeah, so I think for posting this, so if you're posting this on your social or wherever to get the commissions, I think you've got good contrast between the character base and like the foreground elements and then the background. It's got nice Halloween-y colors. The only thing, I think your title here, so the Halloween YCH, could use a bit more contrast. You could do that by adding like a drop shadow underneath it, or adding maybe like a secondary outline that's like a dark stroke. You could add a bit more space up top so it has a bit more room to breathe, like above the character's head. So like having some space between the character's head and then the title and then the top of the composition. I think that could help too, because then you could make it like a square image, if that makes sense. Because right now it's a bit like a wide rectangle. Yeah, just to give it a bit more breathing room up top. Pose would be good. Composition of the text. Okay, perfect. And then shading in the second one. Okay, awesome. On Twitter and Discord. Okay, does Twitter, because, okay, I know Twitter does long images now, where before it used to be like a rectangular cut. Do they display square images decently these days? Oh, it favors landscapes. Ooh. Well, heck. In that case, I could make it a bit taller though. You could, and you could try making it taller so that there's a bit more space for the title up top. You could also make it wider and then use kind of like almost like a 3-column. So like your base in the middle would be like probably your largest column. And then you could have a column on the left side, like add a little bit more space on this side. And you could put your Halloween YCH. You could even stack it so it says like Halloween on 1 or 2 lines. I don't know if you want to split it, but and then YCH. And then over here you could say like ends October 24th and then the price in like a 3rd column here. So then it would be nice and like landscape. And then you'd still have room for like your base to really shine, if that makes sense. That's one way to play with it. And add some kind of drop shadow. Yeah, definitely. Just to get that contrast. Because like you've got good contrast on the price and the date. Because it's that nice kind of like light creamy color on the dark red background. But yeah, just the orangey red for the title needs a bit of contrast. Twitter likes landscape and Insta likes squares. Okay. Yeah, see if you like it. Because if Twitter prefers landscape, that might be easier for if it like crops. Yeah, give that a try. The only other thing I'd say for the base, I find the shoulders are a bit narrow. It's hard because like it depends on the character, right? So I'm sure you're gonna, if you find a character who has like, I don't know, like a muscly character with like wide shoulders, you'd probably adjust it. Or if they're like a more petite character, you could probably keep the shoulders this size. But that's just something to keep in mind, is that these shoulders seem a little bit narrow for like the size of the head. And the hands are foreshortened, but so I don't know. So I can't really base it off that, but for the head, yeah. Yeah, true. So it is just a base, so probably don't have to worry about it. Okay, did you have any other questions about the base before I go on to the shading on the next one? Yeah, I definitely get the cutesy anime character vibe. That's good. Awesome. Okay. So, for the shading on this one, let's see. So, I think overall there's pretty good contrast in all the different elements. And like it's not your character, so like I won't go into the design stuff, but for the coloring and stuff, like there's good contrast. I really like the kind of black, dark purpley bits that you've chosen for like the clothes and the wings and horns and stuff. And then the rest is very pastel-y. I think I tried to keep the shading simple. Yeah, like I like how you've put a lot of the focus on the face. So like I like these really subtle gradients going on that really highlight like the shape of the cheeks and like under the nose and stuff. Like that's really cute, and it adds a lot of depth to the face. I find so like I really like the texturing you've done on the hair. I like how you've added these like little strands and really broken apart like the different parts of like the bangs and the like these like ponytail bits. Like it adds lots of texture and shape to it. Like it's got a good shape. And they're really well rendered. I think you just need a bit more contrast in the coloring, if that makes sense. Because like you've got really good contrast on the skin, where you've got these like it's like the base is like very light and creamy, and then you have these like peachy shadows on top, and like you've got a good Like, I really like how you use the gradient and then use these like darker peachy colors for like these shadows, and it's really good contrast on the skin. And I'd like to see that in the hair. So like using this like light pink as the base, you could probably get a little bit darker here and there. And going in and doing some of that detail shading, like how on the skin you have it like underneath the different like strands from the bangs, and then under the chin, and like under the knuckles and stuff. Like I'd just like to see a bit more of that in the hair. So like using like go into these like lovely strands that you've rendered out and put like a hard line, not a hard line, but like a hard shadow of like a darker pink or a purple or something. It depends on how you want to go, because you could bring in some of the kind of peachy pink into it for the shading, or you could go with the purple. I think it just depends on, like, play around with it, see what works. But yeah, just bringing in some hard shadows into the detail work. Yeah, in that case, you might not have to go super dark with like the gradients on the hair. It might help to just have some of those like really contrasty shadows here and there. Like you could do a big swath of shadow like behind the neck, under these like strands that are like coming onto the collarbone. Yeah, I think there's just a lot you could do there, especially because you've done such a good job with like defining the shapes in your line work. Use darker shadows for the hair's gradient. I was trying to do cell shading only where necessary, so it wouldn't be working for too long. Oh, okay. Gotcha. That is true. So you could do... You wouldn't have to necessarily do it on like every little strand here. So yeah, so if you used a few darker gradients and then chose like the kind of necessary parts to do some dark shading. So like if I were doing this, I'd probably do behind the neck here, I'd do like a bit of like dark cell shading just to cover like this little internal piece in here. And then maybe like down the side of the ponytail. And maybe just defining like the front of the bangs versus like the back of the hair, that kind of thing. Like very simple, but like just enough to add like that little bit of depth. Maybe between the top of the hair and the pigtails. Yeah, exactly. Just to add like that little bit more. But yeah, but I can totally understand like because these are like commissions and the price is different than what you normally do because it's like a special template thing. Yeah, I totally understand like cutting down on the amount of time it takes so that you're not losing money on it. The only other thing I'd say is maybe adding a bit more shadow underneath the forearms here. Because I think there would be like a little bit of light coming down. But just from where the light is hitting like the knuckles and the top of the hand, like I'd probably make this like all shadow on the underneath the forearms. Yeah. But otherwise this looks so cute. Yeah. I love the shading you did on the face. That looks so good. Lots of great work with the subtle gradients, like where you're placing them, so it really defines like the shape of the face. And yeah, super cute and anime adorableness. Was there anything else on this one that I missed? That's good. Awesome. So then we'll do the last one. So, drawing I made for one of my characters. Kinda, it's actually a VTuber design because I wanted to try streaming. Oh, nice. I wanted to draw a more dynamic sort of pose. Feedback on the perspective, the coloring, and the design. There's no background because I plan to use it for a cover song MV. Okay, awesome. All right. Yeah, so I definitely get like it's very like chibi proportioned, if that makes sense, with like the really big head and the kind of like smaller cutesy proportions on the body. Perspective wise, I think you did a great job. I really like this back leg, how it kind of like the foot gets like a little bit smaller as it goes back. It's meant to be a bit foreshortened too, like you're looking down. Okay, I see. So I think in that case, because the way I was looking at it, it felt like you're looking at the body from pretty much straight on, like it's a little bit above. It's hard because you are using this like the kind of large head, large hands perspective. Oh gosh, sorry. I'm sorry for clicking into the mic. Trying to think. Because it feels very straight on from what I'm seeing. There's certain parts that feel a bit more foreshortened, like the hand, for example. This leg feels like it's going back into the distance a little bit, but the one that's planted feels very like straight on to the camera. And there is some overlap with the head on the shoulders to show like it's a bit above. But I think it depends how much you want to push it, perspective-wise. I think if you wanted it to feel more like kind of looking down from above, I think you'd need to like push the overlap more. So having like, like you're a little taller than them. Yeah. Hi, my dudes, and blessings. To get my art reviewed, I need to be a YouTube member or a Patreon? A Patreon supporter. So there should be a link to our Patreon down below. Probably would have pushed things farther. I mean, if it doesn't look bad, then it's fine. But I do need the practice to that. Yeah. Trying to think. Let me see. Let me get some MS Paint in here. I wish I had my tablet set up, but I do not. Okay, let's see. Let's see if I can get this to work. So if we go to here, so like the way I'm seeing it is like it's very. So like if we had a grid here. Like the character feels, oh my god, I'm sorry. I'm gonna butcher this so much. But the character feels very much like, I'm using a mouse as well. I'm so sorry. Oh my god, I'm so sorry. But yeah, it feels very much like this. So like we're seeing your character, they're like, I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. But yeah, it feels very much like this. Whereas like, I'm not sure if you were going for something that's a bit more, that might be a bit too above, but more like, so here's your character, here's their shoulders, and then here's like the hammer, and the wing, and it kind of gets a bit more, a bit more like this. So you see like the hips and the chest and shoulders are like a bit more above and their hips kind of go back. And then it's like that. Does that make sense? Am I making sense? Because it feels like in the current one, the eyesight and the horizon line is like probably about there, maybe a bit lower, like here. Whereas like you maybe want the horizon line to be a bit lower so that everything's like going down toward it. Hopefully this makes sense and I'm not just making a fool of myself. Anyways, your image is much prettier than what I've drawn. BT dubs. Okay. Yeah, so I think that's just what I'm seeing. So I can see there's like a little bit from above, but you could push it more, but I'm not sure what you want to do. I think you could keep the legs as they are and maybe bend like the torso forward a little bit more so there's more overlap of like the hips and the shoulders. Yeah. Yeah, so let me know if you have any other questions about the perspective, but I can move on to like the color and stuff. Again, I really like what you're doing with the shading. I like how you've got like a bit of like some warm kind of gradients kind of like coming down on it. Like I really like how you go from this like cool shadow here and then it goes to like a very warm shadow up top. Like it creates like a lot of like dynamicness in the colors. That's really nice. And again, I think you're doing a really good job of using like a mix of like hard shading and then some lighter, more like gradiented stuff. I especially like the way you've done the hair. Like it looks very glossy and shiny and soft. And it looks really nice. And I think having that kind of like mix of the warm tones and these cool tones, like it just creates like a really nice dynamicness to the lighting that just it feels very glossy and very like pretty and nice, and it's just good and it adds some good like depth to it. Yeah, I think there's lots of just nice places where the way you've kind of colored everything just feels very, like it adds a lot of depth, like within the eyes. I feel like you've created a lot of depth with some of the shadow, like up here, like in around the pupil and like the top of the iris and stuff. And I like how you've added this like a bit of a gloss to the eyelashes as well. And I'm also seeing like with the mouth, like it's got a lot of great depth to it, if that makes sense. Like it feels very 3D. And the colors all work really nice together. It's got good like good contrast from all the parts. I think the only thing that throws me off about it is the perspective, because it just feels a little off to me. Just because like the head and arm feel very much from that like more top perspective, and then the body feels more of that like straight on perspective. I think also because you've got some really nice details going on, like with like the details on the bows and on the clothing, and especially in the face, like it's really nice and detailed. I'd like to see a bit more detail work on the wing, possibly, like maybe some more kind of fluffs in here where the wing is connecting to the shoulder, because it feels a little bit like more simplified and cartoony compared to the rest. And then maybe adding in some slight details like the little, you know, lines that make up like the fibers of the wing kinda might help as well, just to bring in the same kind of level of detail that you have elsewhere and put it on the wing. Yeah, but But yeah, really great work with the shading and the coloring and stuff. Like it adds a lot of depth to a lot of the parts. Yeah. And really great color choices and stuff. Is there anything else on this that I didn't cover that you asked for? Any feedback on the design overall? I think it works pretty cohesively. You've got like a nice kind of like angel motif going through. I love a pointy ear. Good cohesive color. One thing I could say is it's very heavy with the browns on the top half of the design. I guess it depends on the poses that they're in. But there's like, you've got this like darker brown for like the hair and the details on the face and this hammer and stuff. And then on the bottom of the design, there's not a lot of that kind of brown color. You could bring that in a little bit more. Maybe making like the shoes that color. I do like the kind of gold that you've got going with the bows. Like I wouldn't want to get rid of that because it matches with like the halo and the gold in the eyes and stuff. But yeah, bringing something like that in, or maybe when you are putting the character on different backgrounds and stuff, like bringing in some more of that kind of brown throughout. I'm trying to think of other things you could add, because I like the design of like the tights. I wouldn't want those to change. Yeah, I'm struggling to find it, but yeah, I think just that color needs to come through somehow whenever you decide on. And maybe it doesn't even have to be brown, but just maybe that a color that kind of fits that contrast level, if that makes sense. So even if it's just making like the cream or the pink darker somehow, I'm not sure. But yeah. Okay. Are there any other questions? Anything I didn't point out that you're dying to hear? Good for now? Awesome. Well, thanks for submitting. All right. So we've done Fitz and Pigment's work. So we have Clad, Lesbian, Ink, and Kuro. Who wants to go next? You want to go, Lesbian? Okay. Let's go. Let's go. Lesbian wanted to go third? Okay. Perfect. Is it lesbian or labine? I'm pretty sure it's lesbian. For the good puns, but my little Canadian brain makes everything into French. Les. Bless. I'm a punny gal. I love it. I love it. It is a very good name. I'm gonna start working on pitches for the Ace Anthology? Hell yes! Please do. That's a good reminder. Anyone who's interested in pitching to the I Spade You Asexuality Anthology, you gotta get those in by the end of October. Okay, so for this stream, I want to submit 3 characters, all for my current game I'm working on. Oh, hell yes. These are rough designs. The rendered portraits will be cleaner. In any case, top to bottom. Oh, I've got it backwards. Marissa, the apothecary, Arturia, the princess, and Annabelle, the Navy commander. Okay, beautiful. Hi, Let's Sketch. I mostly wanted feedback on the designs. Pirate Lady is my favorite. They're all so good. Look at these cuties. Look at these heckin' cuties. Okay, so I friggin' love this character, who I've immediately forgotten the name of, Marissa. She is so cute. Okay, hum. On Artoria specifically, I want to know how the rendering is. Okay. But yeah, Marissa is so cute. Yes. So color-wise, I think you've got a very good through line and balance of the main character, main colors. Sorry, I really cannot speak today. Where I really like how you've got a good mix of like these very rich browns. I love the pops of like teal and red, and these little pops of like gold and yellow and stuff. Like it's very well balanced. I even like how you've used the pink, like from, does she have pink eyes? I can't really see from here. She does. Oh my god. But I like the balance of the pink throughout. So like how you've got it like on the eyes and the mouth, and then this little, I'm not sure if it's a lapel or like a tie or something on her shirt, and then on her boots and on like the little caps of her potions. Like that's just really good color balancing for your character. It's lapels, okay. Where yeah, I like that through line. I like how you've got like the little dots of teal where it's like clearly she's got like some kind of like undershirt thingy and like the shorts, and then it's on the glasses. That's so cute. And yeah, good balance with the browns where it's like on her hair, and then this front piece thingy. Not sure what you'd call that, but I like it. It's part of her clothing, and then on the boots, and then the red is just like a nice kind of balance, like in the middle, kind of cutting between the shirt and the, with this like scarf thing, and then the shirt bit, and it's a wetsuit for Water Quest. Oh my god, that's so cute. So she's got like a wetsuit and then like a like clothing on top. That's so cute. What the heck? I was wondering, I wanted to call it like long johns, like, you know, that like full body underwear that people wear. It was an apron. Oh, okay. Well, it's really cute. I love the layering on the clothing. Like it's very clear how it all like overlaps and like works. I think that's really nice. It helps that it's like color coded as well with the different pieces, but it's nice. It's nice. It looks very wearable. Yeah, I love the like puffiness of her hair. It just looks so soft, and like it really suits like the shapes of her, where she's got these like very kind of round what would you call it? They're like round rectangles through her design, where she's got these like rectangles on her boots with like the apron, with like the shapes of her hair, on her like sleeves and stuff. Like there's just a very nice kind of through line of these like soft rectangle kind of shapes. And then some of them are a bit more kind of like triangular, like with the apron and the hair. Ovals, not quite ovals. My boss would call it like squircles, where it's like a square mixed with a circle. Bread. Yes, bread. Yeah, just really nice work with that. Good shape language. I love the little details of the stitching. Like I have to think of something mean to say. I know I don't, but like she's made of baguettes and croissants. Yes. It was totally unintentional. Oh dang. Well, I would recommend putting some intentionality into it, because I think you've got a very good innate sense with that just from looking at the characters, but yeah, it's very good when you're working with designs to kind of pick a motif, so it can be colors, it can be shapes, it can be symbols, but just having that kind of like, this is what the character is. So like shape language, for example, like there's certain shapes that have, I guess, traits associated with them. So like circles are considered very soft. Things like squares and rectangles can be more like sturdy. Triangles tend to be associated with like cunningness. Like you'll see a lot of villains are made out of triangles because it's very sharp, and I don't know, I always associate it with foxes. That's just me, where it's like a sneaky fox kind of thing. It's made up of triangles. But anyway, so yeah, certain shapes have certain associations. So if you make a character who's very like has a lot of like round edges, they come across as very like soft and cute and sweet. So like the vibe I get from Marissa is like she's made of very round shapes. She seems, and just from her expression and stuff, she seems very like soft and lighthearted. Like that coyote character. Yeah, exactly. Made of triangles. Yeah, but like she also seems very like reliable, and I think that's because of the kind of rectangular shapes going through. So I think you could like emphasize that depending on where you want to go with the character. Something that was absolutely intentional. They're all from the same nation, so the through line I chose was that red color. Yeah, that's a really great way to design characters that are like on a team, or like you said, like from the same nation, for example. Like just showing similar characters will have similar colors, and then so for example, like a villain team might have like certain colors. Common ones are like green, purple. I don't know.